Thanks for taking time on Sunday. This is very crucial topic, which I personally interested in. This is Praveen, founder of Quap Technologies and the Wholesome Diet dietitian online dietitian consultation platform. We choose this subject predominantly because of this ongoing situation, COVID-19. And as you know, the beautiful God's creation has given the immunity as a default defense mechanism against diseases. Okay, because of our lifestyle and what we eat, the immunity levels vary between person to person. And in this particular webinar, we would like to cover how do we boost that immunity so that with no vaccine coming up in another, I don't know, like 3 months or 6 months, okay, trials are going on, herd immunity is far off. Okay, we have to protect ourselves and leveraging on the nature's gift of immunity. How do we fight this COVID-19? With this, I would like to give a brief agenda. We have 1 hour session and we would like to keep 30 minutes purely for Q&As. So we will have only 30 minutes left for giving overview of how do we improve our immunity, because we would like to be the session to be more interactive. Okay, so we'll touch upon understanding the body, the immunity structure, what are the key immunity boosters and what actually weaken our immunity, and how do we fight against COVID-19. With this, I would like to introduce our esteemed panelist, the experienced dietitians, Ms. Fatima Malik, dietitian Fatima Malik. She is specialized in cancer nutrition. She runs her own holistic nutrition center with a global presence. And we have Dr. Suresh, is a founder and chief coach at Dr. Genie Clinics, which is a collaborative platform for dietitians and provide personalized and precision nutrition along with life coach services patients suffering from lifestyle diseases with the aim of bringing down dependency on drug to the least possible extent. So he promotes more of drug-free therapies. Okay, he is MBBS by profession, but his passion is in nutrition and preventive medicine. Then we have Miss Surbi. She's PG in dietetics. She's the founder and owner at Naturista Health and Beauty, and she's the expertise in lifestyle disorders like PCOS and more, pregnancy nutrition and weight management. She makes customized diet plan according to the client needs. So they are going to put their insights on the overall immunity and how we can fight against COVID-19 by building the immunity. With this, I now would like Dr. Suresh to explain on the body immunity structure. Then Fatima will talk about more on the immunity, and Survi will talk about the food, what is good for immunity and what weakens the immunity. Then followed by the holistic approach by Dr. Suresh to prevention against COVID-19. Dr. Suresh, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Praveen. Good morning, everyone. So before we go into actually understand how to boost our immunity, let's understand what immune system is doing to what is the structure and function of immune system in our human body. So human immune system basically is two types when we come to the cellular mediated and humoral mediated, that is antibody. But the basic structures and the way our immune system works is the function of immune system is to prevent illness. So unfortunately, when we say immunity, we think about only infectious diseases, right? That's the reason why we talk a lot about vaccines and all this stuff. But the body has got its own innate mechanism to fight any kind of illness. It need not be only infectious diseases. So even lifestyle diseases, our body has got a very good defense mechanism. So how does it fight? I mean, there are different structures just like any other organ system, like cardiovascular or genitourinary system or respiratory system. Immune system is also an organ system. It is made up of different structures, starting from thymus to bone marrow to spleen. All these structures, I mean, lymph nodes, all these things, they form human immune system. And the definition of immunity is simply that the ability of the body to fight and prevent, to fight the disease and to prevent illness. This is the broad definition of immunity. Next slide, please. So the components, when we look at the way it functions, are, one is barrier immunity. That means skin and mucus, they form the barrier immunity. Skin is one of the most powerful protective organs in our body, right? So if you look at human body, I mean, basically human skin secretes something known as a sticky substance, oily sticky substance called sebum. And we see some people and their face is oily and they're ashamed of that. But the good thing is they are blessed with one of the best immune systems among the people. But what we do, since oily skin is not glamorous, most of the people, they wash away the sebum, the protective sebum. That sebum is more powerful than all the antibiotics, antifungal, antiviral, and anti-parasite put together. That much how powerful that sebum is. But what we do in the name of like looks and glamour, we wash away all that with soap, and as though it is not enough, we do exfoliation skins like skin rubs and all this stuff. So we keep open doors for all the toxins and infections to enter into our body, and we wonder why there are pimples on our face. So skin is one of the most powerful immune system organs. Second comes the mucus lining, both in our digestive system as well as in our respiratory system. So what they do is, whenever there are dust particles or any microbes that are that have entered into our system, they stick into this mucus layer and they will not be gaining access to inside of the body. So second layer of defense is our mucus. So the third layer is all these surfaces where we come in contact with the external environment. For example, we are inhaling air. So the air is coming through and passing through our respiratory tract. So once the microbes, they pass through this mucus, if they're able to gain access. So we have something known as, what do you say, GALT. That means gut associated lymphatic tissue. So that is again the third line of defense for our body. And finally, once the microbes, they enter into our blood circulation, they gain access into our circulation, then the lymphatic system, that means the white blood cells, they come into picture. The lymphatic system means there is lymph node and lymphocytes. Don't get confused about all these things, since we don't have a lot of time to discuss about this. I'm giving you an overall outline. So white blood cells, there are like granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes, you have neutrophils, basophils, and eosinophils. That means these white cells, they have granules inside of their cytoplasm. Agranulocytes, you have lymphocytes and monocytes. Monocytes are also called macrophages. They do this phagocytosis. And coming to lymphocytes, we have two types of lymphocytes, lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. Okay, they are responsible. The lymphocytes are responsible for two types of immunity that we see operating inside our body. One is cellular immunity as well as antibody mediated. Next slide, please. So immunity is of two types. So most of the people, since they are talking about vaccine for COVID and all this stuff, but we are forgetting one basic thing. The way virus operates is totally different from the way a bacterium operates in our body, right? So when bacteria invade our body, the bacteria contains certain antigens for which the antibodies are made, or the bacteria are engulfed by either neutrophils or macrophages. That is how body fights bacteria. But when it comes to virus, Virus is both a living organism and a non-living organism. That is why virus is called a connecting link between living and non-living, if we refresh our knowledge on biology. So what does it mean? Unless and otherwise virus enters into the cell of our body, it is not alive. Till that time, it is just like a salt grain or a sugar molecule, just like that. It is inorganic in nature. It doesn't have any life outside of a human cell. Once it enters into the human cell, it will take over, it will hijack the genes, chromosomes of that particular cell and start producing its own proteins. Say, for example, just like somebody enters into a Coke plant, I mean, that means a Coca-Cola plant, and start making Pepsi. Yeah, now you get the understanding. So our body is designed to produce proteins for our body's purpose, but virus will come and use the same machinery. So protein making machinery in our body is our DNA. So it will hijack the DNA and start producing it, and it will proliferate or increase in size. So this is how it operates. So acquiring immunity for virus is very, very difficult, but for any infection, if we were to acquire immunity, that is called adaptive or acquired immunity. And the immunity that is innate to us is called innate immunity. Natural immunity is called innate immunity. Acquired immunity again is of two types, active and passive. Active is like once the infection is there, body produces antibodies and through vaccines. And in passive, through mother's milk, we get certain antibodies, and through some kind of transfusions and other things, body gets passively. It is not an active thing, just like vaccine or something else, but artificially also we get some immunity from other means. So this is basic outline of immunity, and I'll hand it over to the next panelist to take it further.
Yeah, dietitian Fatima will cover on how the diet plays an important role on the immunity. Dietitian Fatima. Fatima, you're there? I think we have some connectivity issues. She'll be joining back. Fatima, are you able to hear us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
I'm hearing.
Hello.
Yes, Fatima, go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone. Healthy morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Suresh, to brief us so nicely about the how immune system works and what is actually immunity and everything. Can you please move on to previous slide? Previous one. Types of immunity. Yeah. As doctor said that there are two types of immunity, right? One is innate, that is natural we have, and the second one is acquired. Now this acquired immunity is also known as adaptive, which we adapt according to the environment and everything, right? Which our body develops during the lifetime. Now acquired immunity, the adaptive immunity is again of two types, that is active and passive. Now what is this active immunity and how through diet we can adapt this thing? Adaptive is natural antibodies, that is means like, for example, if you fall sick or something, our body itself is producing some antibodies against it, and you develop, means like the body starts fighting inside our body whenever fever or a little, you can say, any infection or anything happen to us, right? Second is artificial, that artificially we inject, means like you can take example that from early stages we just give polio vaccination or something to kids, right? So that they can adapt themselves and in future they will not going to fall sick. So this is the active immunity. Then passive is natural, through mother milk, naturally the kid is getting immunized, and you can say okay, their immunity increases. artificial antibodies received from medicines, or you can say generally artificial we used in cancer patients, immunotherapies nowadays, that artificially you are building immunity inside the body, right? Now this active and passive immunity, how we can develop through diet, how diet is important, how through diet we can adapt, through lifestyle we can adapt. We just understand more in detail. Now diet and immunity. In diet, it is very important that what you are eating, how much you are eating, and in what proportion you are eating. Now first we include macronutrients. In macronutrients, the first comes carbohydrate. Carbohydrate, no doubt, carbohydrate gives, the first function of carbohydrate is to give energy, right? So carbohydrate supplies the immune system with energy. As sir suggested, now only told that skin, gut issue, gut system, every organs, these are the immune system organs, right? These are the organs of immune system, and they need proper supply of energy to function properly. You can take example like your machine, right? If every organ doesn't get proper oiling, then if a single screw also will not get proper oiling, then the machine will not going to function properly. The same way in our immune system also, the organs which are the, means like skin, gut, and everything is requires proper supply of energy. If we are not giving proper energy, then our immune system will by default get compromised. You can take example that if we mainly people go on crash diets, there are nutritional deficiency inside them. That is the reason that they face their immunity get compromised, because they are not giving proper nourishment, proper energy. They are, means like I am on this diet, I am on that diet, and I am not eating carbs. So please be aware, you are directly or indirectly compromising your immune system. Then high blood sugar is also a stress factor. See, less sugar is of course compromising, but high blood sugar also going to affect your immune system. So both the way, neither less, neither nor high, both is not good for your body. So you have to maintain your blood sugar, which is very important. And it's like stress also affect, in later on talk, Dr. Suresh and Surbi will going to give you more brief about how stress is also impacting the immune system. But right now I'm just confined that carbohydrates is very important, and especially sir, as sir suggests, told that neutrophils, WBC counts, neutrophils activity can be reduced by 50% if we take excess sweet or sugar intake. Nowadays there is trend that whenever kids are eating, whenever people are eating, they just take sugary drink or soda drink along with their meal. They like it, they feel very good, they feel it's like they are means like they are, these drinks are pleasing, giving them very good taste, and it's like they are enjoying it. But these sugary and excess sweet intake is indirectly compromising, means like you can say 50% reduce the neutrophil activity in your body, which is the body mechanism to fight with any foreign substances. Then apart from carbohydrates, the second macronutrient is protein. We all know the enzymes, the immunoglobulins, and everything is made up of protein, right? And if we are not taking proper care of protein intake, someone message that Awaz, it is audible to everyone?
Yes, audible.
Yeah, sure. So protein is also important. If you see the bottom line is your every cells is made up of protein only, your enzymes, your immunoglobulins, everything. So it is very important to take proper protein in your diet. If your protein is not sufficient, protein intake is generally per gram, means like per gram per kg body weight. So it is very important to intake in cancer patients and in people who need more protein intake for building the immunity. We increase the protein to 1.2 to 1.8 also, even 2 also. So it is very important that protein intake is very important. Try to incorporate as much protein as like sprouts. If you are non-vegetarian, add non-veg in your meal. Dal, pulses, everything is protein. So include that. That is also very important to keep your GI tract. and immune system healthy. Second, lack of protein also create, as sir suggested, T lymphocyte is the means like you can say just like on the border soldiers are important. The same way T lymphocytes are the soldiers of our border, and if we are not incorporating proper protein in our diet, then it going to affect. So it is very important. So, and protein deficiency also makes skin and mucous membrane brittle and break down, and as sir suggests that skin is the first barrier. So just imagine if you are not incorporating proper protein, then you are the first physical barrier, that is our skin, is going to affect because of that. So it is very important to incorporate protein. Then apart from protein, there are vitamins, minerals also. Vitamins, minerals, though needed in very small quantities, they are known as micronutrients, right? They are needed in milligrams, but they are very important to maintain, means like for making the not only immune system, for healthy lifestyle also it is very important. So don't neglect your micronutrients like iron deficiency, magnesium, zinc. They are needed in very small quantity, but they are very important. Vitamin D, it is very important nowadays in India and in foreign, especially in India also nowadays I'm observing, though we have sunlight, but still we are facing many people that vitamin D deficiency is very common. And if there is vitamin D deficiency in the body, then also your immunity get compromised, you get stressed, you get frustrated, and you feel very agitated like that. So it is very important. If you really want, these are small things, but if we take care, then it affects your immunity. So in nutshell, I just want to say adequate nutrition is vital for healthy immune system. And if there is nutritional deficiency in your body, then it will going to affect your immune system. And if in case there is excess also, excess in the sense, you can take example, obesity is the excess, right? And obesity also, high blood sugar also, these are all excess examples. This excess also going to affect your immune system. So it is very important to maintain an equilibrium, that neither too much, neither less, for maintaining your healthy immune system. And it's like you can say it's not only acquired immunity which going to affect because of your nutritional deficiency or excess, which we now termed as malnutrition as a whole term, but innate immunity also, means like the immunity which we have, natural immunity, that also going to affect. So that is, means like you can imagine that in this much quantity, means like in this much we are going to affect if we are not maintaining a healthy lifestyle and not maintaining the nutritional deficiency or excess. There are some foods also which stimulate or allergic reactions in susceptible people. So there are some foods, what to eat, what not to eat, that later on dietitian Surbhi will going to affect. Sir, next slide, please.
Yeah, I think next is that one.
Yeah. So dietitian Surbhi will going to focus that what food is good, what food is bad for immunity. Over to you, ma'am.
Thanks, Fatima. And I just want to summarize. So, in a layman terms, if we actually see, okay, whatever Dr. Suresh has talked about, and Fatima has touched upon, if you see the same things, we are talking about the skin, mucus, everything which protects us, and the same thing Fatima is reiterating how diet plays a vital role, okay, in building that. Okay, now over to dietitian Surbhi to cover on which is good, which will boost our immunity and which will weaken our immunity. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. So, we all know that a well balanced diet builds a strong foundation, and a little addition of antioxidants, activated foods can work wonders, right? So, first, we need to understand that it was very nicely understood that what is immunity basically. Now, what are the key nutrients that are going to boost our immunity? So, basically, I have listed down few nutrients, for example, vitamin C, vitamin D, protein, zinc, selenium, iron, and vitamin A. These are few key nutrients that boost our immunity. And how does this nutrients build immunity? What we are going to understand today. So basically, vitamin C, it ensures the growth and repair of the tissues in the body wherever there's wear and tear. So the vitamin C plays an important role. So it's a powerful antioxidant which triggers the growth and function of white blood cells, right? And antibodies especially, because these things helps in fight off the pathogens or antigens which enter our body. So vitamin C helps build a strong immune system, and that this is how they work on our immunity. The next is vitamin A. So they have carotenoids, right? The colorful compounds, so they have antioxidant effect to strengthen the immune system against infection. The third is selenium. Uh, the third is selenium. It seems to have a powerful effect on the immune system, including the potential to slow the body's overactive responses to certain cancers. Basically, we are going to rotate around the antioxidant part more because these products help us to build our immunity. The fourth is the zinc. It is very important nowadays because it helps to slow down the immune responses, and especially it controls the inflammation in the body, which is majorly responsible for all these issues. The fifth is iron. It activates and helps in proliferation of immune cells. The immunity cells, the iron helps in the growth of immune cells. And the last is protein, which is also very important. It is made up of amino acids, which are utilized by our body to manufacture antibodies, which helps us in protecting from the infections, right? The antibodies are prepared from the proteins, which helps us to kick off the infections in our body. Next slide, please. Now, I have talked about the important key nutrients which are essential for the immunity boosting, right? But from where can we get these nutrients? So I'll talk about few food which is important. For example, I have talked about vitamin C, right? So we get it from the citrus fruits like oranges, lime, lemon, amla, melon, anything which is citrus in nature. We get vitamin C from that. And as I told you that they have antioxidants in them, you can use these fruits in the form of smoothies, salads, or you can just top them on your yogurt or anything. The next I talked about vitamin A, okay, the yellow, orange colored fruits and vegetables. So for example, bell peppers, pumpkin, carrot, papaya, all these things are rich in vitamin A. You can consume it in the form of raw salads also. You can prepare juices out of them. The third is green leafy vegetables. It has iron, it has vitamin K, which I already mentioned that how important they are to boost our immunity. In green leafy vegetables, I can give examples like spinach, bathua, kiwi, broccoli, mustard leaves, kale, etc. These things are rich in iron. They can be used in the form of stir-fried vegetables, smoothies, or they can be consumed raw also as a form of salad. The next point is ginger and garlic. These two things are also very important for boosting your immunity because they decrease the inflammation, and you can use it in any form. For example, soup, curries, paratha, ginger water, ginger tea, anything. The next is almond, walnuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. All these things are rich in certain vitamins and minerals, and it can be used in the form of mouth freshener. You can include this in your daily diets. For example, you can start your day with almonds and walnuts. In your mid-evening session, you can add sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds to your snacks part. So these things become very important when it comes to immunity, and it is tasty and healthy both. The last I'll talk about turmeric. The present situation, this COVID-19, we all have understood the benefit of turmeric, right? Because these things help us to boost our immunity very well. Turmeric has antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory properties, and it can be used in any form: turmeric milk, turmeric tea, turmeric water. Everything is beneficial when it comes to boost our immunity. Nobody's responding. Sir, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Now we have talked about the food that boosts the immunity, right? With the food which helps us to build our immunity. There are certain lifestyle factor, I should say, or certain food and factors which decrease your immunity, right? Which deteriorate
Hello. I think we lost Surabhi. Prashant, I think we lost Surabhi, right?
I think she just left. Has an issue with her video.
Okay. So Surabhi, continue, Surabhi. Hello. Yeah, you're audible now.
Okay. So I have talked about the food that builds the immunity. Now I am going to talk about the food that deteriorates your immunity, that weakens your immunity. Can we go back to last slide? Yeah, thank you. So I have listed down few topics which can weaken your immunity. So basically you can consider all this your lifestyle factors also. So the food high in salt, food which is high in sugar, excessive caffeine intake, high fried foods and alcoholic beverages. All these things can reduce your immunity, can weaken your immunity. Now I will explain how. So if a high salt diet is taken, it is definitely bad for your blood pressure, but it is also bad for your immune system, because when kidneys excrete excess sodium, there is a domino effect occurs which will reduce the body's ability to fight off the bacterial infection. So the ability decreases, and that is why the immune system becomes weak. So the examples of food which is high in salt can be taken as processed food, preserved fruits, because salt is always used as a preservative in almost all food we eat, and especially the food which comes in the form of packaged, frozen, canned. So these needs to be preserved for a long period of time, and that is why they have high salt content in them, and it is not beneficial for us. Even home cooked food like papad, pickle, these things are high in salt because salt is added as preservatives in them. So you should reduce the amount of salt. Obviously the necessary salt is needs to be consumed, but the use of salt shakers, the use of salt from on toppings of salad or fruit, chaat masala, these things should be really avoided. The second is food high in sugar. They reduce the ability of the immune cells to engulf the bacteria, right? And that is why the immune system becomes low. So excess sugar consumption causes inflammation, and it weakens your WBCs, white blood cells. And also, other than that, just for an example, I said that in a diet which is high in salt can increase your blood pressure. So a diet high in sugar can raise your blood glucose levels. You are prone to diabetes, and also it raises your cholesterol levels. So in both the ways, when you think about immunity or when you think about the lifestyle factor, diet which is high in salt and sugar is not recommended. Few examples of food which is high in sugar can be candies, the carbonated beverages, the soda, honey, ice creams, etc. All these things should be avoided. Obviously there is some proportion to which sugar is consumed, but these avoidable things are not recommended. The third is excessive caffeine intake. So basically, when there is too much of caffeine in our daily routine, it interferes with sleep. And when you are not able to sleep properly, there is increased inflammation, and our immunity is compromised. So it's a direct link between sleep and immunity, right? So caffeine intake should be avoided. Excessive caffeine intake should be avoided. The fourth is high fried food. So basically I'll point out the importance of green leafy vegetables and fiber which is there, which is present in that vegetable. So when we take high fried foods, basically we tend to consume the green leafy vegetables and high fibrous food in a low amount. These vegetables provide key nutrients to help immune functions, right? I have already discussed the importance of vitamin A, vitamin C, folate. So these things are very important to help build our immune system. And when you tend to have too much of high fried food, you decrease the quantity of all these important components. So basically it releases a chemical signal that optimizes your immunity, and when you consume low amount of green leafy vegetables, it gives a bad impact on your immune system. So food like fried food, chips, puris, bhajiyas, etc., these things should be really avoided, and you should focus on more green leafy vegetables, whole fruits, because from that you can get important vitamins and minerals. Last is alcoholic beverages. So basically, alcohol has diverse adverse effects throughout the body. It damages your immune system cell basically, and also there is an increased risk of serious infection, be it lungs, be it your stomach, anything. If alcoholic beverages are consumed more than the recommended amount, so it is going to hinder your lungs and definitely your stomach. So it basically damages the immune cells, the fine hair of the lungs basically. So the clearing of pathogens does not happen in our airway, and that is why if the cells lining of a person, so can I get the last slide please? So that is why the cells lining of a person airway are damaged from alcohol, and it gives the particles more easy access, more easy gain, which cause the immune system to fight off the infections. And that is why alcoholic beverages are also linked to decreased immunity. These things are day-to-day lifestyle factors, we can say, which can be modified. We can switch to certain healthy things. Also, I would like to focus on two more important points, which is exercise and sleep. These two things are also very important when it comes to immunity. You have to think about the lifestyle change. These things can be incorporated in your daily routine very nicely, very easily. It is good for your overall body, for your immune system, and for your well-being. So you need to focus on diet, exercise, and sleep in equal amount when it comes to immunity. So I guess this is it.
Thanks, Survi, for quite good insight.
Sir, can you please take over?
Yeah, so you're able to hear me? So thanks, Surbi, for insights. And we would like to actually put all the foods that are easily accessible. Okay. And now over to Dr. Suresh on the key precautions to be taken to fight against COVID-19. Dr. Suresh, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Prashant. That's wonderful presentation, Surbi. And Prashant, I'll be moving my slides. I shared my screen, so that I'll have more flexibility in moving the slides around. I hope it's okay.
That's fine, Suresh.
Yeah, right. Thank you. So things that help to prevent COVID-19. What else other than masks and sanitizers can prevent us from COVID-19? Few things that we can practice in daily life to prevent COVID-19, precautions to be taken for kids, elders, and pregnant women. So a lot has been spoken about COVID-19, masks, sanitizers, social distancing, and all these concoctions and immune boosting foods and all this stuff. So here I would like to discuss about two key aspects. One is the machinistic model of human body, right? So Newton's laws speaks about the three-dimensional model or the predictive model of the world around. That means if you know how much of force you are exerting on a subject, and you can measure the impact or the result. So unfortunately, medicine and medical field is seeing human body such perspective. So if you look at our human body, it is never static, right? We all agree to the fact that red blood cells, they live for 100 days. What does it mean? Do you get a fresh batch of RBC every 100 days? No. Every day, 1/100th of red blood cells are replaced by new cells. What does it say? That means every cell, every red blood cell comes with an expiry date. Today it is produced, after 100 or 120 days, it is recycled. Similarly, skin cells, bone cells, brain cells, heart cells, muscle cells, every cell in our body gets. Someone is scared, I think. So every cell in our body gets replaced, right? Every second. That means our body, our life is not static. If you build a wall, it is a static thing. If you build a machine, if you build a table, it is static. It is not going to change. But human body is not like that. We are in a dynamic and participatory reality. Dynamic in the sense, every day new cells are being formed in our body and old cycles are recommissioned or decommissioned or recycled. Okay, they go out. So regeneration and degeneration processes are happening simultaneously in our body. That is the first point. Second thing, who is deciding what kind of body or what kind of immunity one should possess? Imagine, close your eyes, imagine taking a slice of lemon and open your mouth and try to squeeze that lemon on your tongue. Just imagine this. What do you feel? Immediately you feel water in your mouth, right? I just only to imagine, but production of saliva is a physical reality. That means our thoughts have strong result, right? Direct result on our body. For example, when we say corona is dangerous, how dangerous it is? We have 56 lakh cases and we don't have even, right, not even 1 lakh cases of death from that. So that is hardly 2% of mortality. But look at the kind of panic people are in. Okay, so if imagining tasting lemon is producing saliva in your body, imagine the kind of panic or the stress that we are putting in our minds, the effect on our immunity. So stress directly affects the immune system or the protective mechanism of our body. Whenever a person is stressed out, the first system in our body to shut off is immune system, right? Because the stress response is to outer stimuli, not inner stimuli. Immune system is taking care of our internal protection, not from outer protection, from outside forces. So when we sense a threat from outside, right? So body goes into a state of stress, immune system is shut down, digestive system is shut down. No matter how healthy food you are eating, unless and otherwise your digestive system is healthy and your immune system is strong, the body cannot utilize all the nutrients and all the healthy food that you are consuming. You cannot make use of that. So that is the basic understanding or the basic key takeaway I want you to have, that human body is dynamic and it is our thoughts, it is our mental makeup that is making how strong our immune system can be. Okay. Right. What's eating right? How do I know what diet is right for me? So there is nothing like right diet and wrong diet. Okay. So though the mechanism, if you look at all these vehicles, they all use only one principle, the principle of a motor. Okay. So they have the same motor with more power or less power and with the different kinds of body and different kinds of performance, but they all use fuel. Let's say if this is food and the digestive system is the motor in the car or the vehicle. So we all have different types of bodies and different types of metabolisms, different types of lifestyles. So can we come up with a perfect diet for immunity? No, it is impossible. It needs to be customized according to your need. But the principles remain same. Whatever Surbhi discussed, these are the nutrients that are responsible and these are the foods that contain these nutrients. But how do we customize to your own need depends upon who you are. So don't ask for formula diets. They are not going to work. And what is the role of eating habits and its impact on immunity? So we all know that we are what we eat. If this is my healthy self, B is my healthy self, and it depends upon my food, and after few years, I become sick, right? This body has become sick, B has become C, and this B has come from A. That means the food that I'm eating is making me either healthy or sick, right? That is the power of nutrition. So every day we are made up of nutrients that we consume. Yesterday biryani you had or the chapati you had, it has become part of you now. So the fiber, the carbohydrate, the protein, everything you ate, all the nutrients has become the part of you, right? It's no longer a chapati. It has become Suresh, or it has become Praveen, and it has become you. Okay. So we are actually the a collective accumulation of these nutrients. So yes, nutrition plays an important and crucial role. So how does eating right or good eating habits help immunity? See, every day, at least we eat 3 times in a day, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And some people, they eat snakes, snacks. So let's say 4 times in a day, right? Snacks and snakes, there is no difference. I mean, they're as poisonous. So the kind of snacks we are eating, they're no less than to a snake. So in a week, we have like 28 opportunities. And in a year, close to 1,500 opportunities to make ourselves healthy, right? If you make one single change to your eating habit, start eating salad, that's it, only one change. You might have taken like 1,000 salads in a year. That is more than what you can achieve. Whether you walk, you jog, or do exercise, do yoga, do you meditation or not, we all have extraordinary excuses for not doing them. But food, we eat by default. When you are eating, there is a possibility or there is an opportunity. If you incorporate certain eating practices in your diet, definitely it's going to help you. Yes, eating right and good eating habits definitely help. And it is one of the easiest interventions. That's why we all need to go to a dietitian. And coming to comorbidities, I mean, we hear a lot, what's comorbidity and why it is a risk. So morbidity is a state of being sick or having a disease. Comorbidities means multiple problems. Say, for example, if someone is infected with corona, the corona is the presenting complaint. But if the person suffering with, infected with corona is already having hypertension, heart disease, cholesterol, diabetes, arthritis, they are called comorbidities. So why comorbidity is people are more at risk? So any sickness is because of compromised immunity, right? So if you are having sickness, if you are having diabetes, means two things are probable reasons. One is either you are having excess fat or having low lean body mass. Lean body mass is bone and muscle put together. So that means you are not healthy. So that means your immunity is weak. That's why you have diabetes. So don't think that immunity is related to only in the context of infectious disease. I told you in the initial remarks as well. And on top of that, whenever you are taking medication, you are taking an inorganic lifeless substance. That is a chemical substance. That is poison, no matter what. Even if it is helping you, that is a poison. Body is not equipped to deal with that. Though it is having its efficacy, but still, taking medications means your immunity is compromised. All your antioxidants are lost in fighting these medications. And physical fitness, eating habits, depression, all these things. So if someone is sick, means obviously they are not eating well. So their eating habits. So if a person is diabetic and is not able to reverse his diabetes, means he still or she still did not change their eating habits. And similarly, the physical fitness. If one is physically fit, no kind of illness can come to them. And on top of that, any person who is taking medications on a regular basis, they are depressed. So do you think that whenever they're taking tablet, they feel, yes, I am Miss India or Miss Universe? No. When they're taking, look at their psychological state. I am not 100%. I am sick. I am diseased. Right? I am not complete. I am incomplete. That's why I needed this pill. Back of their mind, it runs. So comorbidity, yes, people are more at risk because of these factors. And what diet changes we should recommend this to these people? So not only these people, for everyone. So mindful eating. When you are eating, just eat your food. Don't do anything. Don't watch your Saas Bahu serials and start eating, or don't watch your news. You are not going to change the world, or you are not going to be the next PM or CM. So don't worry about what is going to happen to the world and what is going to happen to the serial characters. Just eat your food when you are eating your food, and pay attention, be grateful, and listen to your body. If we start paying attention to what we are doing, whether it is eating or walking or jogging or working, so mindfulness is the key. Then only all the nutrients and all the food starts working on your health, right? Thank you so much. Thank you, Praveen, for the opportunity. I think I would like to conclude with this.
Thanks, Suresh. Thanks for a great insights. We are just running short of time. I'll just quickly go through this slide, okay, and then we will take on the question and answers. May not be able to take many questions, but the forum will be open through our Instagram, okay. So I'll just quickly run through what we are into, okay. So we have this Wholesome Diet, an online diet consultation platform. Okay, the Wholesome is nothing but the wholesome. So what we preach is, if you heard from all the three dietitians, they're not restricting you to particular thing. They say you eat in right quantity. You eat. Okay, don't ignore any of the nutrients. Okay, but eat in the right. So that is what we promote. We have more than like 200 dietitians registered in our platform. Out of that, 50 persons are active. We have to activate others. These are the few features which are there in our platform. It is available in the Play Store. These are the product capabilities, both for dietitians and the general public. We have Instagram, through which we will be taking any question and answers which we are not able to address now. Okay, so I'll quickly run to the Q&A section now. Prashant, over to you. Prashant and Rakesh, quickly shoot the question.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We let us quickly answer, take a couple of questions. We had a great audience, a lot of expectations. Let us meet that. Okay. Prashant and Rakesh,
the first question is from Ghazala. So the question is, for mall absorption, any supplement for immunity? So anyone can take it actually.
Rakesh, can you repeat that?
I mean, for malabsorption, what is the supplement for immunity?
It's basically protein. When a person is malabsorbed, we tend to recommend everything in a good proportion, be it carbs, fats, or protein. But when it comes to malabsorption and immunity both, the important key nutrient should be protein. And protein, you can get it from non-veg and veg, both sources. So yeah, the important point is protein.
The next question, please.
Yeah, next question is
stop screen share.
Okay. So the next question is, why COVID-19 is rare in children? Any connection with immunity? So this has been asked by Vishwanathan.
Nowadays, actually, we are more stressing on breastfeeding. So breastfeeding is also one of the, means like the kids are, hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it's like innate immunity is also one of the factor. And so we can say that in kids, but it's not like kids are free to go outside and interact, but you have to take precaution for that too for kids. But yes, the innate immunity is really good in kids. So it is saying it is the reason.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is, does black sesame seeds have any role in improving the immune system?
Yeah, sesame seeds, they are a good source of several nutrients, which I've mentioned already in my presentation, basically zinc, selenium, iron, vitamin E. And I have already mentioned the importance of these nutrients associated with immunity. So definitely black sesame seeds, which are also called kalonji, are very important when it comes to immunity. They are a good source of certain nutrients.
Also, what are the role of probiotics in boosting immunity?
Probiotics also helps your immune system. They boost your immune system. Basically, what are probiotics? They are live microorganisms which can be consumed through fermented foods or supplemented food, both. So the probiotic promote the production of natural antibodies in our body, and they also boost our immune cells. So that is why they're associated with good immune system.
Okay. There is also one question which says, what types of food are good for reducing stress?
I'm not able to hear properly question.
The question is, what types of food are good for reducing stress?
Reducing stress. Okay.
Yes.
See, for not particular any one food is good, but yes, lifestyle modification is needed. It's like you can say, okay, try to incorporate more, as the dietitian should be only suggested that more antioxidant rich food, include more fruits, vegetables in your diet. These are all good. Even I mean, it's like you can incorporate more magnesium rich food, like for example a small piece of chocolate, but small piece, not in, means like if I'm saying that magnesium rich and chocolate is good, so you just keep on eating, keep on munching, that is not good. But yes, for reducing stress, a small piece of chocolate also wonder, and it should be 70% cocoa, so that you can reduce your stress level. Then water also plays very important to reduce stress, so drink water, because many times your body is dehydrated and that's why you feel too much stress. Exercise again is good, and it's like these are the things which are good to reduce your stress.
Okay. Also, is taking turmeric in excess amount can lead to any health complications?
Pardon?
I mean, is taking or consuming excess amount of turmeric, will that lead to any health complications?
See, basically everything in excess or is going to harm you. It's not like this thing is turmeric is good, so you just keep on having it. Everything is in portion is good. Everything is in excess is not good for your health. Now the point is how you are incorporating turmeric, in which quantity you are consuming it, and how you are, that is also very important. So it's like you are having kachi haldi, means like raw haldi, or else you are consuming in curcumin or in capsule form, in supplement form, how you are incorporating, that is also important.
Okay. Also, ma'am, does ashwagandha play any role in immunity?
Yes, definitely. It is really very good. It is really good herb. It is good for building immunity. It is good for reducing stress. It is good. It is like in you can say in thyroid patient and in medical condition also we suggest. So it is good. But again, the thing is in portion and how you are incorporating it. So that is very important.
Okay. So I guess this is pretty much the questions that we have got. So in case of any extra questions, probably we'll reach out to you post session and the answer could be posted in Instagram, so that the ones who felt that their questions were not answered probably can actually see the Instagram page and get the answer known, because we are kind of time crunched over here.
Yes, I think overwhelming response and very good insights. And hope we have all the recording. I think many of the audience have requested for the recordings. Okay, we'll publish that in YouTube and share the link with everyone who has participated. Any last question? We will close up. If there is any one question, we'll take up. And a lot of questions are there, Rakesh.
Yeah, again, one question says, is honey good for boosting immunity?
Honey should be pure. Sorry, ma'am, you are saying. Okay, continue.
Yeah, please go on, ma'am.
No, you just come. It's okay.
Basically, honey definitely has antioxidant and antibacterial properties, but then yes, what ma'am said is really correct, that it should be pure. And also the proportion really matters, because eventually you are going to add on calories if you take more of honey. So the proportion matters, but definitely honey is associated with immune system. It has very good antioxidant properties. So if you take it in a prescribed amount, yes, it can really boost your immune system.
Okay. One final question before we can wrap up this particular session. What food items are helpful in rheumatoid arthritis? Hello?
I think that's one medical condition, Rakesh, rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah, so one of the participants have asked it. So,
Okay.
See, for rheumatoid arthritis, it is a yes, of course, it is a medical condition and not particular food item or something helpful or is hazardous. The thing is, first we have to find out the root cause and find out the reason why. And it's like we have to see the reports and then only we can recommend that. Okay, fine. These things you have to incorporate and these things you have to avoid, because many a times it happens that person to
unique contribution to our own well-being. It is we who use how we use that matters. So don't look for foods that are good for cancer, foods that are good for arthritis or diabetes. No, it is not going to work like that. So you should not look a condition in parts. You have to look the person who is having the disease. So as William Osler, the father of modern medicine, says, a good doctor treats the disease, a great doctor treats the patient. Right? Similarly, a good dietitian should treat the disease and a great dietitian will treat the patient. Right? So from good to great. So that's what one should striving upon. Then it is easy. You can do wonders with foods, whatever foods that are available to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Suresh. Thanks the dietitian panel, Suresh, Surbhi, and Fatima. Very good insights, and hope the audience have got their expectations met. Please do share your feedback. We will send that so that we will improve for our next webinar. Okay, and we will also post the video recording of this. And you can follow us on our Instagram, and in continuation of this session you can ask questions there. We'll try to address that. Okay, with this note we would like to conclude this. Any last points, Prashant or Rakesh, or anyone want to share before we conclude?
Nothing from my end, Praveen.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thanks for joining. Okay, we will continue with our next webinar. We will post it on our social media, what our next topic would be. And you can also share whatever expectations are. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.